All right, so on the back side of the notes, the living room below and the ceiling need to be painted. How many square feet of space will need to be painted? This particular question is asking you to paint the walls and the ceiling, but not the floor. So you have to think about what method is going to be the best. And in this case, we can either do the formula or the net, but you do have to use a little bit of common sense. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at the formula. And first I would need the perimeter of the base. I'm gonna call this one the base because it's the ceiling and the floor. If I label that as the base, it is also going to get colored in yellow because we need to find the area of the base. And the other thing that we need is the height of the prism. So those of you following along with highlighters, same colors as we used on the front. And this one would be the height. All right, so if we go through and we collect our data, the first thing we would want is the perimeter. The perimeter is going to be 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So 2 times the length 12 plus 2 times this side, which is 4.5 or 4.5. So we're going to have 24 plus 9, making the perimeter 33 feet. The height we've already identified. I just labeled that with the orange H. And then I also need to find the area of the base, and I can see that that's a rectangle. So the area of the base is going to be length times width, which is 12 times 4.5. So the area of the base is 54 feet squared. And that's my data collection. I can write down, if it helps you, that the height is 10 feet. Now, when we go to use the formula, you will notice that we said we were going to paint the ceiling and the walls, which means instead of having 2 bases plus the perimeter times the height, on the surface area, we just have 1 base plus the perimeter times the height. So the surface area is going to be 54 plus 33 times 10. Multiplication coming before addition. So the surface area would be 54 plus 330. And that's going to be 384 feet squared. Now let's just say you didn't notice that it shouldn't have been 2b plus pH, and you had done the full formula. You would have had 108 plus 330, which would have been 438 feet squared, at which time you would say, hey, I don't need to paint the floor. 438, take away a floor. The floor was 54 feet squared. That would have gotten you back to the same 384 feet squared with no floor painted. Either way, same answer. The other option is to think of it like the question where we did the net. So if we pretend that we have a net all laid out for us, we have the surface area of, let's say, the ceiling, which would be length times width. So that would be 12 times 4.5, which we know is 54. We could also do the surface area of, let's say, the front, let's call it like side 1, length times width, and that would be 12 times 10, which is 120. And let's say we've got the surface area of, side 2, length times width, which is 10 times 4.5, which would be 45. Now all of these are feet squared. And we would need to say, well, what's the total surface area? So I would have 1 ceiling plus 2, the front and the back. So 2 sides that are 120 each plus 2 sides that are 45 each. Have to add those all up together, so it would be 54 and 240 and 90. That's our surface area, which would be 384 feet squared. Same answer as we had from the formula. So this one kind of comes down to personal preference, whether or not you like the formula method better or you like the sort of piecemeal putting together the net better. excuse my movement of markers. Last thing that we have is going to be this Rubik's Cube. It says each piece of this Rubik's Cube is 1 centimeter long. Find the surface area of the Rubik's Cube. Something that is really nice and special and unique about a cube is that all 6 sides are exactly the same area. So if each section is 1 centimeter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is a 5 centimeter by 5 centimeter by 5 centimeter cube. Meaning we only actually have to find one side. So the surface area is going to be 6 times one of those squares. So this is the surface area of a square. And there are 6 of them because a cube has 6 square faces. So we would do 6 times 5 squared, or 25, meaning that the surface area of the whole cube is 150 centimeters squared. And the reason this works is because it is a cube. It does not work the same for all of the other rectangular prisms. Hopefully this helped sort of clarify any potential issues, did a little bit of each type of example, and if you need to, you can always go back and watch any parts of the videos. Thanks guys, bye.